We are back at it with a brand new video, and today we got some super motocross to talk about. But first things first, thank you guys so much for the love this past week on all of the videos that we posted. We posted multiple bikes, we posted a Seto, Sim, and then we just posted a brand new Starfield video yesterday. If you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you guys go check it out. Leave a like for me, I'd really appreciate it. I'll have the link for the video and everything in the description below. And we're on the road to 14,000 subs, man. I really do appreciate all the support recently. It means a lot to me, so thank you guys very much. If you guys want to see just more content in general, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video. But let's jump right into it, man. There's a lot to discuss. So the day started out pretty normal for like a supercross race. You got your qualifying sessions and then you go into like your main event later that day. It kind of felt more of like a Triple Crown race than anything because they had the LCQ races on Race Day Live instead of the main broadcast. I honestly thought they're gonna have the LCQ races on the real broadcast later in the day. Either way, it kind of worked out perfectly fine. It worked out for fantasy if you did fantasy. It didn't work out for me for fantasy. My team was bad. We're not even going to talk about that. But I actually really enjoyed the 2 20-minute motos for each class. I think they should honestly try that for like the actual Supercross series for a couple rounds. Maybe instead of like a Triple Crown race, we get like 2 or 3 races that are like 2 20-minute long races. I think personally that would be pretty freaking sick. A lot more racing, a lot more things can happen. Obviously, you have the more risk factor of having longer races on Supercross tracks, where maybe you could do it on, say, like an Atlanta Speedway, or you could do it on like a Daytona, maybe even like 2 15-minute motos on Daytona, something to that nature. I do get the more risk factor of like an actual Supercross track having 2 20 minutes. Even like the Triple Crowns are very much of a risk for like the riders, so I totally get that. But I do love the format of the longer races for each class. I think it gives the riders more of an opportunity to like charge through the pack per se, and have the opportunity from even starting like what Hunter did from like 17th, or I guess last place in both races, and push his way all the way up to the front. I think it gives more of an opportunity for that. I also think it gives more of an opportunity for guys starting like 6th or 7th to make their way up to first. I think the longer motos for, especially for these races, are really cool. I really enjoy that. And I wish maybe, hopefully, probably not, that they implement it into the actual Supercross rounds. Going on a little tangent here, I was talking with my boy Briggs and Jordan about this. And we were kind of talking about how like the schedule for Supercross and motocross should be like shortened. I don't know about what you guys think, but for me, I think they should cut out like 2 Supercross rounds, maybe even 3 Supercross. I would say 2 to make it 15 rounds, and 1 motocross round. So you cut out 3 weekends and you give those guys rest, and it plays more of a factor for like points wise to get into the super motocross. So they have a little bit more rest time for the for those playoff rounds instead of being burnt out. We were also discussing how like we can go overseas, but I know that's not going to happen. I already talked about that in a previous video, but I think giving the riders a little bit more rest will have them a better opportunity to not feel burnt out or fatigued going into the playoffs. It also allows other guys possibly the possibility not to get hurt as much. There's a lot of riders hurt right now. So say Tomac didn't ride 17 rounds. Maybe he didn't tear his Achilles, you know, you never know. I do think shortening the season, giving those guys a little bit more rest, I think would be more beneficial. Also, as a viewer, I love having races every single weekend. So I'm not complaining. I just was giving you guys my thoughts. But for like the format for the Super Motocross round, I give it like an A+. Honestly, I really do enjoy it. I like the 2 20 minutes. I even like the 65 guys in there, man. Those guys were going crazy. I know next weekend is going to be 85s, and then the following weekend in LA is going to be like the 250 future guys. I didn't know that there was such a thing as like the World Champ 65s going to a race. I didn't even know that was a thing until yesterday. Like, I didn't even know that. And so, I mean, that is pretty cool that they got onto the national broadcast. And they were on live television. I think that's really awesome, especially with the 65 kid jumping the triple and jumping the finish line. I mean, like, you can't go wrong with that. That's pretty freaking exciting. But onto like the track, I wasn't a big fan of the split section, although it actually worked out better than I thought. I wasn't too fond on it. I thought they could have done more with that whole area instead of making it split. You could have just done a little bit more there than having a split section. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I thought it did work out towards the end with like the passing, where you could take the over under and kind of like square them up to go underneath on the straightaway to go into the rhythm. That was one of the key passing points in the race. So it, like, I guess you would have to say that it actually did work out how they wanted it to, which is good, I guess, right? But at the beginning, I wasn't like a huge fan of the split section. I don't know. I would much rather have like different sections there compared to like a split section, but it worked out, so I can't complain too much. Also, the track, it was a single file line track. You had to force your way in some of the situations. But I also think that kind of made it like some good racing. A lot of the guys were compacted with each other. I mean, like you guys had attempts at passing, which was awesome to watch. So it does have its pros and cons. And I also like the factor of like it actually brought out some roughness in the track, where that's exactly what they wanted. Like they wanted the motocross braking bumps with the supercross track. So it definitely brought that out. I wasn't sure it was going to do that. I honestly thought it was going to be more of like an Atlanta Speedway where it was just like high speed, like supercross. But I am glad that it worked out to their like what they wanted to do. I think how they like prepped it was the main purpose for that. So they got to definitely do that for the next 2 rounds. So overall, I thought the track was pretty decent for racing, and it honestly caught a lot of people off guard, especially the rhythm section. That rhythm section was super technical. Only a few guys were doing the quad over the table, triple quad, triple out, or triple out, right? Only a few guys were doing that. I think it was like Jet, Chase, Dylan was doing it. Kenny finally did it in Moto 2. That section was very key on passing as well. Like if you hit the triple, or if you hit the quad, triple quad, that was so much faster than going triple on, off, double, over the tabletop, triple, right? That was just so much faster. So that definitely was neat to see that as a passing point. And that also led into like that big sweeper. There's a lot of passes that happened there. Like Anderson got by Jet there. Joe went on the outside of Tommy V there for the first place. Honestly, from the split section exit to the whole rhythm section to that whole right-hander was basically the whole passing point of the race. Obviously, you have some passes that happen right before the sand section. Chase made a pass on Kenny. I think Jet made the pass on the little off-camera double. But other than that, like I felt like all the passes kind of happened in that 3 sections back to back to back. It made it exciting if someone hit the quad instead of doing the triple on. So that was pretty cool. So overall, although I wasn't a big fan of the track layout and I was criticizing it in a previous video saying it's going to be like a one line, probably going to hit the asphalt, it turned out to be a pretty decent track, a pretty decent racing track. I have to take back my word and say it was actually pretty good. Now we get into like some of the actual racing. First moto for the 250 class. That was really exciting. Deegan got a pretty good jump. He got into third really quick. Made his pass on Levi, I would say about 5-6 minutes left in the race, and then kind of just gapped. And I think he ended with like a 7-second, maybe 8-second gap. So Deegan was on Moto 1. The one kind of surprise besides Hunter crashing was Jay Coop. I don't know what happened with Jay Coop. He finished 12th in Moto 1. If you guys know, or I haven't watched any like press conference or any videos yet. If you guys know what happened to him, put it in the comments below. But I was really surprised that he went backwards. Like he started pretty well and then just moved all the way back. It must have been a bike setting that he just didn't click with the track. Also, another surprise, Jordan Smith. Where the hell did he come from? He got 8th in Moto 1, which is all right, but he had a great start Moto 1. And Moto 2, he had another great start. So that was really surprising to me. Also, another surprise was Ryder D. He rode really good. Moto 1, he got a great jump, kind of faded, kind of a typical Ryder D race where he gets a really good start, holds it for a while, 5 minutes to go, kind of fades. But Moto 2, like he rode really good. Third place finish in Moto number 2, which is outstanding. I finally think that's like his like a coming out party into like supercross, motocross, like got onto the podium. I think that's a step in the right direction. He's going to GasGas next year. He might be on podiums next year in supercross. You never know. Top 5s for sure. Kind of a disappointment to me was Hunter. I picked him for my winner on my predictions, and he just struggled all day. In Moto 1, he crashed in the split section, which was kind of surprising. He literally was just trying to turn, and his front tire just kind of like washed out, kind of like a bike's wash almost. And then Moto 2, he crashed in the start. So in both the motos, he was basically dead last and had to pick his way all the way up into the top 10. Moto 1, he got into 9th, and Moto 2, he got into 7th. So pretty good comeback rides, especially on a track that's very hard to pass. So really good comeback rides. Just kind of disappointing that he wasn't better at the starts, and he also wasn't up there battling for the win. I think this is a good track for him, but at the same time, he struggled a little bit, maybe bike setup. But yeah, just kind of a little bit surprising to me. I don't know what happened with RJ today, man. Crashed in Moto 1, crashed in Moto 2. Just not a good day overall. Kind of struggled with like Hunter and say. Max Anstie, I didn't even see him on the track, but he was somehow out there. To me, I was saying this to the boys in the Discord, like, wasn't he a top 5 guy on the East Coast? Why is he getting 18th and 15th, man? Is something wrong? Is he hurt? Is he injured? Like, what's going on there? We have to talk about Tommy V and Joe Schmoda, dude. Tommy V rode outstanding. I'm excited to see what he can do in Chicago. This track kind of suited him more than like a typical Supercross track. We were kind of saying this in the Discord as well, that like he got his feet wet in Supercross. So now he's going to be extremely comfortable in these certain situations now with like the Supercross rhythm sections, triples, whoop section if there are whoops. I think he's going to be more comfortable on these high speedway tracks than compared to like a tight course. Not necessarily surprised, but also surprised at how well he did. I'm excited to see what he can do in Chicago. Joe coming off the win in Ironman. Joe rode outstanding Moto 2. He rode really good in Moto 1. And with the 4-1, he took the overall. Tommy V with a 3-2 took second. Hayden rode great in Moto 1, dominated in Moto 1. Moto number 2, his crash from practice finally came back and he was feeling it in Moto number 2. His body started to like stiffen up and everything. So he rode into like a 5th place, which is not bad, honestly. Like a 5th with that massive crash and getting a first in Moto 1, he got 3rd overall. With the podium as Joe winning, Tommy V and Deegan. Joe Shimoda and Hayden Deegan are now tied in points, which is crazy. And then Hunter is down 3 points, and then Tommy V's down 4. This 250 class is going to be so crazy come next week in Chicago. And it's double points next week. I don't know how that's going to play a factor, but I'm excited nonetheless. And then 450s, man. There's not much really to talk about besides there's a few guys that I want to say, like Ty Masterpool rode crazy good both motos. His results probably don't show it. He got 11th, 12th. Dude, he rode great. Whole shot, basically Moto number 2, rode second for a few laps, battled with Jet, battled with Anderson, battled with Cooper, Barsha, everybody. So I think Masterpool, keep your head high, dude. He's not a Supercross guy, but I am just so surprised how well he did, and I'm excited to see what he can build on into the next rounds, and even next year in Supercross if he stays the course. Like, I think he has an opportunity to maybe get top 10s next year. Maybe. Even top 15s is still pretty good for Ty Masterpool, I think, in Supercross. Couple guys, too. Dylan rode great. Moto number 2 got 2nd. Moto number 3 got 4th. He rode really good. Anderson rode really good Moto 1, rode really good Moto number 2. Plessinger was just kind of out there. You didn't really see much of him, but he got 5-6. Barsha 6-8. Barsha I thought would have had more. I thought would have had more like speed for it, but he kind of struggled all day from my POV. So I'm kind of surprised about that. Cooper Webb also kind of struggled all day. I thought he was going to be in the mix for top 5, but he got 8th overall. Adam had a big get off in Moto number 2. He rode really good in Moto number 1. For a little while, then got faded back a little bit to 9th, but Moto number 2 got like a top 2 start with Masterpool, and then in the rhythm section kind of got off a little bit, almost saved it, but then went down. Unfortunately, I think he just like didn't finish a race, Moto number 2, but I think he's okay, so that's good. But the 3 guys I think that are most important on this list right now that I'm reading: Chase Sexton, dominated. We've been waiting for this Chase for like ever, man, and it's so awesome to see that he was able to go 1-1. Step in the right direction for next week. Like, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. He's super good at Supercross. I mean, like, anybody can see that, right? So, Chicago Speedway, I was watching the track map. It's going to be so much different than, I think, the Charlotte Raceway. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Can he back it up? Ken Roxon rode awesome. That was my prediction to win it just based off of like watching practice, watching quali. His statement saying he's feeling really good. He's been training with Chase. So I kind of went with the underdog there with the Kenny pick, but he rode great. 3-3 for 2nd overall. I mean, what more can you ask for Kenny? I think that's a great finish for him. What surprised me, though, was Dylan getting the podium with 2-4. That really surprised me. A guy that kind of surprised me that didn't do as well, Jet Lawrence. I heard in Moto number 1, he just wasn't comfortable with the bike. His suspension was too tuned for Supercross instead of like a little bit of mixture, so he kind of struggled with that. Moto number 2, it looked like himself, but with this track being so tight in certain sections, so one line, it was very hard to get around guys, and with a bad start, he made his way all the way up to 2nd, but just didn't have enough time to get Chase. He was catching him, though. He was definitely catching him a little bit, but he just ran out of time, so he got 7-2. He actually crashed in Moto number 1 as well, just a little tip over. So he went 7-2 for 4th. Kind of surprising. I thought he would have been battling for the win with Chase. His streak is over. It's over, right? He's won every moto this summer, but it's finally over. I was very skeptical. I was very skeptical. But I am happy that it turned out better than I thought. But I've been talking a lot in this video just about my thoughts and everything like that. And honestly, like, I'm happy that Chase is back, finally winning. I'm happy for Joe for getting a win. I think Joe has a real opportunity to win this whole thing. like the SMX playoffs. I think he has an opportunity to do it. I love the format. I love the 220 minutes. I actually really do enjoy that for the Supercross. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good experience. I'm excited for next week. We got a lot of reactions going out, so I'm super excited for it. I just want to say thank you guys so much for the love on the last couple of videos. Make sure you guys go give that Starfield video a watch, even if you guys don't like that video, man. If you guys want to support me, definitely check that video out. Go watch a few minutes, comment down below like a W or something like that for me. I really do appreciate that. But this week, I plan on getting some more sim in. There's a bunch of tracks that we got to play. A bikes video that my boy J Gas actually just created a new track called Evergreen SX Compound. So definitely checking that one out. The boy J Gas has helped us with a bunch of stuff in the past. So I'm definitely going to check that one out. And then more Seto, and then maybe another Starfield video just to give you guys a little update. I don't know about the Starfield yet. Just keep an eye on it, and I would much appreciate you guys just checking it out. But I've been talking for about 30 minutes. I didn't mean to do that. I don't know how much we're going to be using of this, but I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you guys so much for the love, and we'll catch you guys back here in tomorrow's video. Well.